So right in here, I think, yeah? Down this way.
Right up here?
So you're going to cut right across? Oh, the brisket right there. So this is the kind of
This one here?
the chest part, and it's called brisket. And you'll find the knobs. You see these little knobs here? That's where you start cutting. Right there. And isn't that brisket that V shape? Okay, you try the like this, Brian. See?
Yeah.
So that's what you do. And then you just keep going across over here. So you're trying to hit the, see? So this is called the front chest, the brisket they call it. So there's knobs here. I'm cutting it with a knife. It's very easy to do. And you got to skin this flap open so you could see the knobs all the way down. You want to try it?
Yeah.
Okay, just follow the knob here, see?
Skin this back.
Yeah. It's over here, so you're okay. You're okay. So you're here and that, so you're okay. I think it kind of stops somewhere. And then you could cut it off, yeah. Okay. So this is called a brisket. And so what we did was cut the end of the ribs, and it's the front part, and then you could roast it in that or make a soup out of it there. Yeah. So, okay, and then over here is that you have to cut it right in here to kind of cut the legs off. So when you're doing it, yeah, you see just follow the meat part. It's really, and try to keep your knife right against the bone this way, because if you cut this way, you kind of cut too much of the meat. Yeah. Just watch your thumb. Maybe kind of stop now, and then we'll cut this off. So that'll be easier to cut there. So what I'm doing is taking the excess of things like the muscle part and that, and what we don't need on there. So we could see what we're doing, what we're cutting. Like this. Okay, there you go. That's scrap. So, and then try to feel it. See the bone. The bone is in here, and then I'm going to hold it here. Yeah.
With our hunting, we were really strict of how to take the meat apart with our late husband, her husband, and mine. They go hunting all the time, they take us out hunting all the time and teach us how to take the moose apart and haul them in. We save everything when we're coming out, right from the moose head right down to the height. All the inside we save too, all the moose heart, liver, kidneys, tripes. The best part for me is I like the tripes, stomach of the moose.
The stomach bag, I
Yeah.
think it's called. And then there's another part that elders really like is the poop. It comes out. It's just like a little, just like a little string of fat and that. And when they're gonna lose it, like when they're gonna poop, it comes out that channel, and then they use that. It goes far back, and you go right in and cut at the end, all the way to the back end. When you cut it out, you have to clean all the poop out of it. And what my mom does is she puts it inside out when she cleans it, and then she puts it in a bag, and then you have to wash it and that. So that is it's just like a treat, eh? And when you fry it, all the fat is boiled out of it, and then they cut it into little pieces, and then it's really chewy and really tasty. So Native people like to do that. And then inside the stomach bag they call it the Bible. And it's just like as humans we have inside our stomach, when we eat food, it goes different channels, right? So the moose is like that, and then it's just like a little book on the inside, and we have to wash all that and everything. But the younger generation don't like it because of the smell of it. But we got used to growing up.
I have to flip it now, eh? Nope.
At an early age, I never really got into it because my dad always did, my mom always did that, but they showed us. But when I started going hunting with my late husband, and he did it, but he told me to stand there and watch him how to do it. And things like that, you never really pay attention because, oh, why am I going to learn it? He does it for me. So, but you know what? It's a payback because, I should have listened, That's what we say. And then as a woman, to be cutting up a moose is it's something that everybody should have.
When you take things apart, you go through the line,
So,
and you don't cut like this.
so what they're doing is taking the hind leg off the backbone and that. So they're following kind of the meat is layered in different chunks like muscle part. So they're taking a chunk out right there, over here this side. You cut through that.
The back strap you use for long time ago for threads.
Sinew, right
sinew,
there.
they call it.
Okay, this is the back part, like they cut it. This is elders, they save it right here. They make sure when they're cutting it, they don't cut that. And then what they do, they clean it as best they can, and then they stretch it out and they dry it. I don't know if they wash it before they do it.
I don't know.
And then they clean it and they hang it up to dry. And what they do is like weaving a yarn, like a sheep, sheep, what do you call the sheep hair? Like they weave it, but that's what we do with this one. And a long time ago, they used that to sew anything, and that's very strong. It's just like a sinew.
Okay, so I got this part done.
Okay.
That's another part.
You
right
go
there.
in with a what you call seam like this. You don't cut anywhere. Because when you make dry meat, it makes it different. So
Okay, when you're doing the back strap, you gotta follow right under. I don't know. There's a back in there. And yeah. I'm just trying to feel the bone where it ends. I'm trying to get to the back strap. This is very dull. I'm trying not to cut this this sinew muscle. So what you do, see the feel down here, the bone cage there. You see it?
Yeah.
Yeah, you feel it?
Yeah.
And that's where you're gonna be cutting just against the bone to save all the meat on your back strap.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I'm got some dots on there because this is part of your.
Yeah.
Yeah, just stay against the bone and slide your knife straight on there. Yeah, dots and us and that and like that. So this is part of the hind leg that she cut off, following the muscle, all the. So she took part of it off, and then we got into the bottom. See?
Yeah.
And that. So here is another part. See how you.
Yes.
This is how you start cutting,
Yeah.
taking them apart, and that. So, see, look, the lines in here, all that. So, Chanalia, I'll just. The rib cage comes over here, eh? So maybe. It doesn't dead exactly here.
Yeah.
The whole part. So we fall on the bone trying to take the.
When our boys come of age, when they're in their teens, when they're coming of age, the grandparents know when to take our boys out on their first son. And my father had to take my son that took the first crew out. When they shoot their first moose, they make them, just a taste of drink of blood there for the younger generation or boys that come of age of hunting. My only son is the hunter. He got taught through his grandfather Lloyd and his dad Sammy. They always go out on hunt. And then always when they skin their moose, they gotta have it real clean. See how clean these are. When they bring it in, they never leave any moose hair. You notice that? So these are the good hunters. How clean it is. Many times meat comes in like that. When they're in a hurry or something, you always see a lot of moose hair and then us ladies have to clean and clean. But look at this, it's really clean and very fat. They always do the skinning of the moose first of the hide, and then they do the cutting up and everything. But they don't leave anything behind. If they do, our auntie always tells us, when you finish hunting and what is left behind, you put them all, like the hooves, anything that's left behind. Some of them, they don't use moose head, they leave that behind. You pile that all up in one little pile, and you put your moose head in. Some leave behind moose hide. Just put them all in one and offer tobacco. You offer tobacco for prayers, asking, thank you for giving your life for us, for our family. they do this, and then when they offer, they pray so that their next son would be, their next son, they'll get another moose. With their first moose, when my son came of age, when he got his first moose, the elders always tell him, you give it out to the communities. You do not save any to your family, maybe a little piece of meat. But your first moose, you give it out to everybody in the community that's an elder and the single parents. So last week they got their first moose. My young nephew Connolly or Bingo and Milton, and they went out. They got their first moose. That's what they done. They gave it all out to the communities, to the elders. This is how they learn. It's how we teach them. Our men are good hunters, but they're all up in heaven. So this is the part how you get your.
See, what I went to make easier for myself is I went right above here on the rib cage and then found the ribs there, and then I just went down. And Brian did the bottom part. Yeah. Seems like I'm just relearning again because I haven't done this for so long.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Oh, Susan?
Yeah.
I asked her if I'm doing okay. Janice and there you got that sunshine, Jan.
I didn't get to that part.
So do I go straight that way? I
Yeah.
can't remember. Yeah. So do I keep going?
Yeah.
Because I don't want to cut too much of this meat, eh? Guess what? I don't feel any more bone there.
Okay, now you
So
cut
that-
straight down.
Okay. No. So this is the end of the ribs part. So we cut right across here. I could feel that, but juice. Okay. Because here it's got lots of meat on it, and we don't want to cut into it. So this is called the back strap. Like that, see? The back strap and that, and see? So we should have something to put on there, eh? Yeah, because so we always have scrap like that. We put it somewhere in a pile when we're doing it. So here I think we need to cut. See, even this little piece like that, we don't waste nothing. We have to keep it, you know.
Burger meat.
So yeah, and then save every bit of it. Yeah. So even elders and our husband used to always get mad if we. I remember when he told me to cut it, and I cut the wrong way, like trying to take off the front hind quarter. It's really easy. Just get your knife right in there and then you flip it. But I went all over the place and I kind of cut a lot of meat into meat. And then he said, this is not what you do. He said, you have to pay attention. So here, I don't know how far is the ribs. It's just right here.
Yeah, right there.
So we have to cut about here.
Yeah.
Okay, watch your
Here.
watch your finger. So I'm cutting on the edge of the ribs all the way to the backbone. That's see.
It's the hind leg. When you cut up meat, it shouldn't be cut like this. No, there was one mistake there. But you go along, all along where you see this, and you cut along there, and because this part is really good for when you make dry meat. They call it dry meat in our country.
Like a jerky?
Beef jerky, and you smoke it for maybe, but at least a week to get it good.
Yeah. Yummy.
So this is good because this moose has been hung for a day and a half, so it's really good. But we don't do anything, till it's hang for a day or two. Then we start cutting up.
Now what he's doing is we're cutting out the rib cage. So we're going against the backbone of the moose where we cut the brisket off. So when you're cutting or somebody's cutting, you have to pull away from him so that he'll hit the right area to cut here. So this is the backbone where we took the back strap off, and so this is the rib cage. The rib cage. You see how clean this is? Whoever is the hunter look after, took all the blood, everything out. You don't see any hair on it. So that's a clean. Whoever the hunter is a really good hunter. Yeah. So go back to Terry. She's got to finish her part.
So I cut all along where you see this. You cut along, and then I'm just trying to finish off in here. Take it right apart. This here is a really good making dry meat. You still can cut in between here. See where the line in here? To cut up. They tell us when we always make sure there's nothing in here like a black spot or anything. If you do see it,
yeah,
you have to cut them out and not to use it. This is just about a little bit like that. You see it?
yeah, that kind.
Yeah.
It's
So we don't use that. We always make sure when we're cleaning, make sure we don't see this.
so that's always in the part of where the fat is. The fat, and see how it is. She cut it and it's kind of funny color inside.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's a growth or what is it.
Some kind of growth or
Yeah, so the elders always tell us to cut around it and don't leave it there. get rid of it. So it's just something that's connect to the fat in
This
the moose.
part is a real good steak. You can either grind it or clean it real good and then cut them up into steak. Or you could use it for our meat house. We use, sometimes we use strip. Some of the elders, they cut them in half. And then they have a long dry meat, just, and they cut it and then just roll and cut and roll and cut. And then it's just like a thin slice of meat. You hang it to dry, smoke it for a few days. They can use that. Whatever your mind comes to. The same thing with this too, you can cut them. But like what we said, us ladies don't have to do very much of cleaning because some of the hunters, they leave lots of moose here like this, you could see. See, this is really clean. You don't see very much hair. Not very much hair, see? If they're not good hunters, then us ladies have to be scraping and cleaning and take all the hair out. Or we have to just take all this heart and then just go along, take this muscle off or the dry part off and then...
Yeah, right there, the bone. Yeah, I think it goes down this way, eh?
Yeah.
Goes over this way. So what I did is just, you could use this part of it. It's almost the stomach lining connected to it. You could use for stew and that, see? Or like what Terry said, you could use it for long strip of meat for dry meat. Yeah. So what I did is I cut right against the last end of the rib cage. Yeah. So. Yeah. So what they do is
The joint.
John, it's here's I got to find cut this one right there. David, oh yeah. There's this drop just right against it. So what she's doing is trying to take the part of the hind leg apart from one of the joint bone.
See, when you move it around, see?
Yeah, there. Yeah. I always have problem with that part. I cut it the wrong way. And like these kind of things, like when you're cutting the joint, the part, you have to cut it where they tell you to cut it. If you start cutting it all over, and you're going to end up somewhere else, not the right place where you're going to cut it the joint off. So she's taking the last bit of the back end of the meat.
Just about got it.
Testen so, quoi? Yeah, that way.
Okay, move it. this side.
Seasons, yeah.
Just
So the
about
joint
there, yeah.
right there, I think over, maybe cut this way like that, this side. But this one has where's the joint on this one here? So we have the joints way down there. So what we're doing is trying to take the bottom joint and the top joint apart.
Ellie, how many people typically butcher a moose?
Well, a long time ago used to be probably half of the community elders and that, but today is not too much. Whatever elders left, they're the one that know how to do it. But you know what? We need to teach them. And now the new generation is that they don't want to touch because they think they see blood and all this, they just don't want to touch it. Like, because they are raised in a different generation than us. Like, we were taught by elders and our parents how to cut the moose, and anything like we learn what they're teaching us, and be respectful. They're teaching you and be respectful. Like, if they tell you to cut the moose back, the stomach part, they'll show you where to cut it, but you don't want to touch the poopy stuff, right? And they say it really stings and that, and they tell you to cut it where and that. And after you take it apart, and they move you aside away from the meat, and they're going to tell you how to cut it open. There's a little bag like that, and another part you cut off is called the Bible. That part, and you take it away, and then you got to clean all the folds, everything, all the poop out of it, everything, and you shake it when you think it's clean enough, and you put it in the bag. So it's already got a bag. So this young generation, they don't want to touch it because they're raised different. They get their food from the store, and that's what they eat. But if you start teaching them how to cut the meat to cook or to make dry meat, and they'll just look at it like they'll shy away, yeah. So, but I think we need to teach that generation that are like 20-year-old and that, we need to catch them and then teach them so they would pass it down to the young generation, because we're not going to be here anymore, because we're getting to the age. Yeah. Eat and eat backbone.
Yeah.
So this was the back end of the hind leg that she took off, and that's part of the back strap ends right here to here, and this is the part of the hind leg that she just cut. So this is a really good for flat dry meat. Like, you cut it in thin, and you just, elders, what they do is they have some kind of a rack that they make, they make it about this, a pole about this far, and and another one on the bottom, then they tie it together, and they just roll the meat when they first cut it and they lay it on it and then they keep rolling it and cut it into thin, like when your knife is going, like, really thin. And they make a flat dry meat, right? This is called like
Cool.
moose o.
Who's go?
That means moose fat.
Who's fat?
We're still working on here. I'm stuck here.
See, that's where I get stuck too, because we went cut it the wrong place. So that's what we have to find our way to find the right way to cut it. Yeah. That's where I make my mistake too. See right there.
And then there's a lot of elders, they don't throw, they always leave a little bit of meat on all the time, eh?
Yeah.
Not to the bone. Then they cut
Chunks.
a chunk of bones like that, and then they boil it
Broth.
because there's a moose or the marrow inside that they like.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's
so
what
good.
they do. They always leave a little bit of meat on and boil it. The same thing they'll do it with here too.
So that's all used for marrow and stuff like that. So I guess we cut this part off, eh?
This one here.
Yeah. Right there?
Yeah.
So that,
This one here.
yeah. Cut that. Okay, I got as far as, now we're cutting the backbone off. It'll be okay. Let's just cut it.
Next time give me power saw.
I'm getting too old for this.
Yeah.
So this is the end of the backbone, and we don't waste it. So we cut it in chunks like this, all the way, and then we use it we boil it all day,
Soup.
and then the way they fed us was we get a plate and we put one of this chunk on our plate, and we have to use fork or our hand to pick at it and eat it. It's pretty exciting when family eat together like this. Yeah, it's kind of like, what do you say, family bond thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's the backbone and that, so we still gotta work. Here, see, this one has to come out over here. Remember the backbone here? Like that. We still gotta deal with this one. We got lost on it. Hindi ba tisel? Hidden bone. So Brian is gonna cut the big chunk of meat that's sitting there, and he's following the bone down.
Bone right there.
So when you're cutting up something, you always have to move your knife and then cut. And if you feel a bone, and you gotta figure out which way to go, and then that's how you cut your meat. The bone is the one that guides you to where to cut. I could taste this fried up. This is the muscle part. That's why you can't cut it with a knife. Yeah. We got to cut it right through it. So what you do is here, you're guiding your knife against the bone and try not to waste too much of the meat. I think this is the hip bone, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. The tail. When we used to go hunting, my dad used when the first snow, he used to get a moose. He used to bring a wagon or sleigh up there and makes a big campfire and used to roll the fat like this. They'll be fresh, soft. And we used to get a stick and he used to roll it at the end for us. And we used to put it in a fire, roast it, and we used to eat it.
Chewy.
Yeah, the fat. Thank you. It's going this way. So I'm just sliding against the... I wasn't home, so nobody gave me meat.
Well, you guys can take this one.
Did you want to try it? Or
You're doing a good job, Ellie.
yeah, I'm just trying not to. So I'm guiding my finger against it on the meat to push it. So, and then gliding my knife. There. So this is the last end of the meat. There's a lot of meat in it, really good meat. So, yeah. And even these kind of things, just a little bit, we have to save it. There's good meat in it, and yeah.
We're teaching our generation, our young boys. My grandson will be of age pretty damn soon, and he's always want to go hunting. You never say no to any children, especially little boys. When they want to go hunting with you, you take them. Ellie and I, we go a lot of hunting too, and even us, we can shoot our gun 30-30. We do a lot of hunting, helping our husbands, our late husbands, and lucky they taught us. I guess they knew that they're going to go to the other side of the world. They knew, so they kept teaching us. And this is how far they brought us, for us to carry on to the next generation of our grandchildren and their children. So really fortunate. I thank him up in heaven for teaching us all this, for our generation and children. That's it.